Interesting things have happened, and this is a new year. One would expect that things are starting slow, but they're not starting slow at all, particularly for the education sector, as the federal government suspended accreditation of degrees from Benin Republic and Togo. According to the press release that was signed by Augustina Obiloduru on behalf of the Director of Press and Public Relations at the Federal Ministry of Education. The suspension will persist until the conclusion of an investigation involving the Ministries of Foreign Affairs and Education and the Department of State Security Services and the National Youth Service Corps. Now, the reason for the suspension is that there are concerns about Nigerians utilizing dishonest means to obtain degrees for job opportunities they are not qualified for. Now, Nigerians love to travel. They also go for different reasons. It is not just the UK, US. Some Nigerians want to study in as far as close as neighboring countries, Benin Republic, Togo, Ghana. You have Nigerians studying there. So this concern about some Nigerians obtaining by dishonest means certificates for jobs has led to this suspension. Idahosa.
Well, it's amusing that we're just seeming to realize this very terrible situation that has been on forever. It's not just starting, it has been there for quite a long time, except that we are not honest with ourselves. I remember when I was in school, one of our own lecturer who said he got a degree from University of Cape. They had to go to write to school several times to be able to justify that degree. I know when a sole administrator was sent to the school, the man has to disappear somehow. So this trend has been out there that people have been shopping for certificate. How did we get here? I think that's a real question that we need to ask ourselves. Because you're living in a climate where everybody is talking about paper qualifications, certificate. And people are not looking at what people can do. And this is the real situations that face us. In 2021, I was in a seminar teaching somewhere in Ikeja here at Sheraton Hotel. And we were having this conversation about the quality of education. And one man who was from NYSC said, look, he said, it's even more worrisome for them at NYSC, and that was in 2021, that they got somebody who was an Achaba driver who came for clearance at NYSC to say that he wanted to sign up for NYSC. And so they needed to interrogate him and say, why this credential you bring, they are not authentic. And the young man said the agent that brought it said that it was genuine and authentic. So the agent that brought the certificate said the certificate was authentic. So this is the level to which we have gotten because of emphasis on certificates and paper qualification without a corresponding skill or ability to do in the person who is presenting the qualification. We're having graduates, even not from the outside, even graduates that are produced from our schools who cannot construct 2 lines of sentences. So it's not just about the Republic, because since it was okay, well, all you need is just to have the qualification, then anybody can, if you can pay for it, you get it. So apart from the fact that they are shopping it offshore now, there's also the inshore, because there are some shopping here that's also happening. And these are the real problem which we face, and looking into the future, where people feel that hard work don't pay anymore, and if you can get it by all means, and of course nobody is going to check what you're actually doing, this is it's a real big mess we are into as a country. I remember also in 2017, I was in ASCON, and we were giving a lecture, and I was also talking about this same situation, because it has worried me for a very long time that within even our system, and you're seeing that people who are supposed to be very intelligent don't pass, and the people who are not intelligent are the ones that are coming out with good grades. Because the sorting system, the sleeping system that has been in the tertiary institution has driven us such to that extent And I remember then a deputy director in CBN was telling me, and he said, look, it's worrisome now because you even have people in the middle cadre in the civil service who cannot write simple memo. When you write, you have to rewrite it. Now, it's school that is producing these people. And this is where we really need to sanitize our education system. If we want to grow as a people, if we want to develop like we are saying on a daily basis, then of course there must be a complete overhaul. And this is a real issue. I don't think that this search can really lead to anywhere because how many are you going to check? Is it you're going to go confirm from the university that is offering the degree? Because it's economy for them. You get a certificate, you pay, and then of course they are making money. And this is where we have found ourselves. And I think it's quite really very, very pathetic for us as a country that we can go to this extent when people can actually use their hand to work and earn a living without necessarily carrying certificate. Now this again speaks to what the Protestant ethics alluded to, which is the dignity of labor. Because if you see the comment here is the fact that people want to look good to do work. So if I'm a mechanic and I don't need to be dirty. So when we dignify every form of labor, people don't necessarily need to have to go to this length of buying certificate so to just get employment. And I think this is where we need to emphasize. Let government start to talk about skills, what we can do with our hand. There are certain clients today, when you are applying for a job, nobody asks you what class of degree you have or what paper qualification you have. The first thing is that they ask you, what can you do? So if you say, this is what I can do, then they give you the system to do. If you can't do it, you have lost the job, no matter what qualification you bring. So it's only at the point of documentation, people are asking you, which school did you attend, what have you done? But first and foremost is the skill that you possess that should give you the source of livelihood. It's pathetic, it's pitiable, but that's where we are.
This is a multifaceted issue. Now, my concern really is what is leading or what has led to people going as far as or as close as, because if you can travel to the UK, as close as Benin Republic. Don't you worry? Is it about the standard of education? Is it about ASU going on strike regularly that has made people say, okay, I do not want my educational journey to be interrupted? Femi, what is your take on this?
I don't think that is the issue. If you look at this story in particular, it talks about the shady deals or the suspected racketeering going on about this issue of certificates. And I think this issue has been going on for years. But this particular story became public knowledge because of the investigative report done by a particular reporter of a particular platform who went to that university. And there's what we call participatory observation. When you're doing investigative reporting, you turn yourself to a victim whereby you participate in the activity in order to gather some facts. So that was exactly what this reporter did. He went to that university, and within 6 weeks, he was able to get the certificate for that university. So that's why this story became public knowledge, and then, federal government had to investigate to see what is going on. So it's something that's been going on for years, not just this particular university, but this particular university is of interest because people feel within weeks you can get degrees or certificates. And so if something you ought to get within 4 or 6 years, and you can buy your way in, within few weeks you get it. People always go that route, and that's exactly why you have more attention on this kind of saga that's been going on. But this points attention to the fact that the kind of systemic problem we have when it comes to the issue of education, the kind of society we find ourselves, where people prefer to cut corners. They won't want to do the actual thing or what is expected according to standard for them to obtain the particular degree. And that's why when you see this kind of situation, when you offer them jobs, when they get on the job, they can't perform, they can't do actually what is expected because they have to do shady deals or go through the back corner to get this degree. And that's why they can't defend it. You have people who have BSc, who have masters, or even PhD. And then you're wondering, how did this person get this kind of qualification? So there's a difference between their qualification and then the performance in reality, which is where Dr. talked about the issue of skills. And it happens a lot because the emphasis in our society is your paper qualification. If I tell you I have PhD now, like doctor now, you know, the kind of prestige or respect you have. And so people want to do everything to get that kind of degree, you know. He got his own honorably, and that's the way it should be. But when you know that there's a particular place you can visit and get it back though within shorter period, people will go there. But I'm happy investigation is ongoing, because it's looking like a racketeering, not just between that university. Some government officials are also suspected to be involved. Even some officials of NYC are also suspected to be involved. So the investigation is being widened to ensure that those is like a cartel. Or
no, I don't think government officials are involved. Now you have agents of these universities in Nigeria. Some of them are in Lagos here. Who are marketing? In this office, I have gotten a proposal from somebody who came to me and said, oh, that they are doing education for people. And I said, where? He said, Benin Republic. I said, when there's university in Nigeria here, you want me to sponsor somebody to go to Benin Republic? How can it be done? It's not possible. The proposal is still on my table. They say, they are raising fund to move people. So you have those agents who are local here, representing the universities in Nigeria, because they know that many Nigerians are writing JAM and they are not qualified, and so it is easy for them to actually get into this place. That's what I'm saying to you. The NYC guy told us in that conference, and he said, look, he said they call it the total package. As at that time, that they have a total package where they will give you school start, primary school, they will give you university complete in one bus, and then they give you. So that's why that Achaba man or the Okada man said, yes, said that look, this thing, the agent who brought it said that the thing was genuine, and he was very honest about it. He said the agent said it was genuine
because he felt it was normal.
Yes, normal, because that's what they were doing. Because you have those people who are here now. We should even be, because NYC has discovered this, because in 2021 they also suspended mobilizing students from Benin, Niger, Cameroon from going into NYC because of this. So what you have here is that what I'm saying in essence is not just about Benin Republic. We have had Toronto certificate saga here. Have we? And that is at the beginning of this dispensation. That's over 16, 20 years ago. So this thing has been ongoing. And again, this speaks to the problem we have with quality control. The regulatory agencies who are supposed to be, validating some of these documents are not doing their due diligence also. And this is why when they bring this thing in, we just take it. Because naturally, what do? NYC have a portal, you upload your document. And once you upload your document, they say you have graduated, you just get in and you have these issues. Now, this is the real issue that we have to face. But what is responsible for all of this is what my mind is actually on this morning. And the fact that we are over-concentrating on certificate. Beautiful CV, well written in the paper, but not in the head. So this is the issue that we have to deal with as a people. So how do we begin to emphasize that the ability of people really who are going to school to do something? Even in a local state university here, I remember in 2016, I visited my alma mater and we were sitting down and DSS were over the place. And they had this young man who read geography and regional planning from a particular university and was mobilized into NYC. And his story was told that this guy couldn't write or fill a form at NYC. And then the NYC were really worried. The state director had to call the vice chancellor of that university and ask, and they said, we have a case here. There's a young man who graduated from your school, geography and regional planning. This person cannot even write an application. We want to know how this guy graduated. And they said, okay, check the records. They went to exams and record. The records were there. The records were there. DSS were involved in this particular case, I'm telling you. The school, they came. Because even the vice chancellor, she's late now, God bless her soul. She was saying, look, she cannot imagine how it happened. Because number one, it was not one lecturer that taught this guy. It was not one department, because there are, of course, interdepartmental courses that he wrote. How did he come out with a second-class lower division from the university and pass all the courses and went to NYSC and yet could not write? So this is the dilemma that faces us. So we're not just looking at what is happening in Benin Republic or what is happening in Togo. It's to say the quality of education, even in Nigeria, is something that is questionable. And the Minister of Education should be interested in seeing how people obtain degrees in our climb. And that for me is what it is.
Well, we do hope that this investigation this time around will be holistic, not just for some time. But I actually pity those who will be caught in the web, those who actually went to school, maybe in Togo or in Benin Republic, and went through the process, got their certificate legitimately, who will not maybe be mobilized until this investigation is over. And then the stigma attached to certificates from those countries, when you present some certificate and say, I studied in that country, people look at you like, are you sure you didn't shop for this? Something like that. Well, so I hope it's holistic and it comes around.
I think they should also widen it to cover some PhDs and professors.
Okay.
Because I don't think that this packaging is just for BSc alone. It's even up to that level.
You mentioned there's a total package now,
Yes,
so
a complete
also
package.
extend to that. Femi looks shocked at that.
No, it's not surprising. You know, it also boils down to the fact that maybe lack of integrity. You know, you have people who prefer to fail honorably than, you know, take the shortcut. And I think that's what we should imbibe as a society, you know, that value that, okay, even if you have reasons to write your JAMB or to sit again, yes, do it. Ensure that you have it in a legitimate way, not just cutting corners because you want to have your degrees. Because in the long run, it will be obvious that actually that you cut corners.
You see, until we get to that point as a country where we recognize that the degree or certificates are only a means to an end and not an end in itself, we will continue to go around this route. What is important to people is that you have a degree so I can get a job. Now, if you learn a skill, you don't necessarily need to be shopping for a degree. And I think this is what we need to do. The overemphasis in public space for paper qualification should be discouraged. And I think that's the point. And that will be the starting point, really. Because we can do all the investigation in the whole world, and at the end of the day, it will really amount to nothing, because we have not actually, we will not be able to solve the problem in total, because there are so many. Some are in Ghana, not just here. I see some young people who say, oh, I'm ready. They couldn't get admission in Nigeria, but they have been admitted to study medicine in Ghana. And these are issues, and for me, it's quite worrisome.
And then some parents even believe that maybe the standard of education there is better because you don't hear frequent strikes by the academic body, so they just want their children to study. So I think that's part of it too. If this year so far, from what happened last year and the assurance and the communication between the federal government and us, we hope that all through this year we don't get to hear of any industrial action by the academic body. If this continues over time, it will to a great extent discourage those who feel like, let me study in a neighboring country, because yes, apart from the ASU strike and some of the issues that we have in tertiary institutions, I know that we have standard institutions in Nigeria.
Oh yeah, oh yes.
All right, the next story is talking about the automation of Nigerian passport. You know, according to the Minister of Interior, Olubimi Ojo, he said they've initiated the process for that to start online. So it's going to kick off January 8th. So what that means is, before now, you usually have to visit the passport office to get your passport. You know, this has been leading to a lot of inefficiency, you know, wasted time and energy, bottleneck, and even leading to racketeering, where you still have to, you know, tip your way before you get things done. But the minister is saying this time around, we want to deploy technology to the issue of passport application. So what that means is to be easier for Nigerians. At the comfort of your home, you can apply for Nigerian passport. All you just have to do is, with your smartphone and with your internet, you go on the website, you supply the necessary information, and you maybe in a number of days or weeks, you get your passport for you. You know, Idahosa, what do you think about that? That sounds like what you've been advocating.
Yeah, automation is great for government services, and I think it's the right thing to do. But I think this process had been on for a while because in the last 2 years, really, the NIS portal has always been open, immigration, where you can actually apply and upload your documents for your passport. And some people tried it and it did work, depending on which location that you want to do your capture. Yeah, but what was worrisome about that process was the fact that having gone online to apply for your passport, you still need to get to passport office to print out because they have to open a file for you at the passport office for your capture and things like that. But one is hoping that with this new development, that process, of course, will no longer be there, that people can actually, it can be completely automated such that when people apply online, they don't need to be visiting the passport office. They are alerted automatically via the means of communication that they are put on the registration portal that, oh, your capture is 1 p.m., 11 p.m., based on the facility that's available. Then that reduces the number of pressure that people go to. Because really what you see is that some people who also have applied online before and they get to the passport office and they have given a date and they get there and the date is not available. So they're asking them, okay, come and KYC your documents, you know, you put everything in order again, they fill a file for you and fill a form from you, which of course was a duplication. So I do hope that we can actually, like it's done in other places. I was talking to a friend in Rwanda and he was asking me, how long does it take you to get a driver's license or international passport? And he said in 24 hours, if you register it today, then by the same time, they call you for a capture. And I think we can get to that level where systems are allowed to determine, because you find that there's also a lot of racketeering that is going on by agents.
Even touts.
Well, let's not call them touts.
The touting around the passport.
Yes, office, because they are making so much money.
Yeah.
And you are doing 32 pages and it's supposed to be 25,000, which is official, and they charge you 40,000. Because they have to help you facilitate the process. So once we automate it, all these processes will be reduced.